The college football playoff rankings are going to have a huge shakeup in the top 10. And tonight here on Johnny Talk Sports, it's going to be no different. I have an updated top 10 playoff rankings. So let's get started. Now we had a lot of upsets this week. In fact, we had 3 top 10 teams who were going to be guaranteed to lose, as 1 played 10, 3 played 7, and 5 played 6. So we were guaranteed to have 3 top 10 teams lose this week, but we got 4, as Washington lost to Stanford on Friday night. So let's get to my new top 10. Now, number 1, it's obvious, but now it's going to be obvious now with the loss of Georgia to Auburn, but the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, they've been my number 1 this whole process, but the committee still thinks that Georgia had a better resume than Alabama, even though I said that Alabama is the most consistent team in college football right now. They may have had to sneak by against Mississippi State, but championship teams have to do that. I mean, when Alabama won the championship in 2015, they had to have a 19-14 victory over Tennessee. Now, I'm going to go backwards again, like what I do usually, what I've done the last 2 weeks. I'm going to go through 7 through 10 because this is where we have the 2 lost teams. Now, I'm going to explain everything because I know this is going to cause some controversy. At 10, I have the Irish of Notre Dame. Number 9, I have the USC Trojans. Number 8, I have Ohio State. And they're the only team that's not going to just have the short abbreviations because OSU can also mean Oklahoma State University. And number 7, I have Auburn. In fact, let me just put in my number 6. Number 6, I have Georgia. Before we get into the cream of the crop from 2 through 5, where the whole controversy and debate comes in the comment section. But I know that Notre Dame has the head-to-head over USC, and Auburn has the head-to-head over Georgia. But still, I think what the committee would do, like if I was on the committee, I would still put Georgia as the worst one-loss team in the situation. I'd still have Georgia ahead of Auburn because Auburn, I think, is the best 2-loss team in college football because they have 2 of the best losses you can have. With Auburn only losing to Clemson, who's going to be in this top 5, there's no question about that in this ranking, and to LSU, who if they can keep winning games, if they can win out, they could possibly get themselves into the late teens or around 15 or 16 if they can win out, keep winning games. So Auburn would have 2 top 15 losses, and if Auburn were to win out, because they've already beaten Georgia once, then they'd have to beat Alabama, and then Georgia again in the SEC title game. If Auburn can win out and end the season with 2 losses, they can have an argument to land in one of these 4 slots right here. Now, Ohio State at number 8. Now, I know that they got humiliated last week against Iowa 55-24. But Ohio State responded really well. They answered the adversity bell really well. Dominating Michigan State. I mean, I don't even know what the final score of that game was. I'm going to say it was like 49-3 or something. Probably something worse than that. I just turned off that game at the middle of the second quarter because it was a blowout. But still, Ohio State answered the adversity bell really well. And Ohio State can still play Wisconsin. Will still have the potential to play Wisconsin in the Big Ten Championship game. Let's get through 2 through 5. This is where the debate is going to come in the comment section. But number 2, I have the Clemson Tigers at number 2. And I'm going to explain right here. Because Clemson's at number 2, instead of probably someone like Oklahoma, Miami, or Wisconsin, you could honestly make somewhat of a debate. But if Clemson hadn't had their fluke against Syracuse on the Friday the 13th, we could be talking about Clemson possibly having a number 1 spot. I mean, before this whole process even began, if playoff rankings applied, let's just say back in the start of like October, we could easily make an argument on how Clemson would be number 1 based on the early teams they've beaten in the month of September. Auburn, who's number 7 in this process right now. Louisville, who was ranked number 14th at the time. Virginia Tech, who was ranked, I believe they were 12th at the time, if I'm not mistaken. So Clemson has the best resume out of anybody right here at this moment. Now, number 3, I have the Oklahoma Sooners. And kind of the same thing. If they didn't have their fluke against Iowa State, you could make an argument that they could apply for the number 1 slot in this playoff ranking. Because OU's got a better resume than Alabama does right now. Because Oklahoma has beaten Ohio State. They have beaten TCU, who has been inside this top 10, who's been inside the top 10 most of the season. And Oklahoma is one of the most consistent teams in college football when they're at their best. And right now, the Heisman Trophy is Baker Mayfield's to lose. Now, here we go. 4 and 5. Is Miami 4? Is Wisconsin 4? Who is it going to be? I'm going to hide. I'm going to hide what I have here. I'm going to at least do my best. At number 4, I have the Miami Hurricanes. At number 5, I have the Wisconsin Badgers. And let me explain why I put in Miami over Wisconsin at number 4. Because honestly, you could make an argument for either team right now. Both teams are undefeated. But still, both teams can get into the playoff if they stay undefeated. Because Miami, we now know officially that Clemson and Miami will face off in the ACC Championship game. But the question is, will they both be undefeated at the point when we get there? Because Miami's got a winnable schedule coming up with Virginia at home and on the road to Pittsburgh. And Clemson had a winnable schedule too. Because Clemson, they don't play any ranked opponents till Miami in this ACC Championship game. But they do have the rivalry game against South Carolina. And rivalry games, you can throw out stats and rankings and numbers out the window. But still, Clemson and Miami still have manageable schedules to stay undefeated by Conference Championship Week. So the ACC Championship game is going to, in my opinion, dictate a playoff spot. However, if Clemson does beat Miami, let's just say maybe Clemson wins like an epic defensive battle, 10-7, would the committee kick out Miami? Honestly, if you're Miami, you want to win out, but you're also just hoping that Michigan or Minnesota can knock off Wisconsin. That's what you're hoping for, because I think a one-loss Wisconsin team would not get in over a one-loss Miami team if it came to it. Or if a one-loss Georgia team, I think a one-loss Wisconsin team would not get in over a one-loss Georgia team. I think if Wisconsin loses either the Big Ten title game, which definitely the Big Ten title game, they'd be out, or if they lost to either Minnesota or Michigan, I think Wisconsin would be automatically ruled out based on the lack of schedule. And that's going to do it. Comment your top 10 down below. Share it with your friends and family. I will see you next time for my Week 12 College Football picks, and I'll also see you back on Tuesday night for my NFL Week 11 predictions and the third College Football Playoff Rankings release reaction. I will see you at those times. Have a wonderful night or day whenever you're watching, and I will see you later.